week 3 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few running backs I will look to drop this week. The first guy is Ronald Jones, the second of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Ronald Jones, he struggled in the first 2 games of the season here. In a game where they put up 48 points in week 2 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jones only finished with 6 rushes, 27 yards, and 1 catch for 9 yards. So Leonard Fournette, he's outplayed him the first 2 weeks of the season. And right now it looks like Fournette and Gio Bernard are going to get more of a workload here for this Tampa Bay Buc team. And in week 1, 4 carries, 14 yards, and a fumble loss, which got him benched the rest of that game versus the Dallas Cowboys for Jones. So right now he's not producing. He's not getting meaningful touches, in my opinion. And he's a guy that really's been phased out of this offense. He really can't catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a decent runner between the tackles, but right here, this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team is going in a different direction with guys who can catch the ball, help out Tom Brady even more. And right now, Ronald Jones, I would drop him, and he's been dropped in 4% of fantasy leagues so far. The next running back I would look to drop is Mark Ingram of the Houston Texans. So Mark Ingram was a recommended pickup for week 2 of the fantasy football season, but right here, it was a bad game for him in week 2 versus the Cleveland Browns. 14 carries, 41 yards, and 1 catch for -1 yard. So obviously this Texan team, they're going to be trailing in a lot of ball games this season. And obviously Mark Ingram, he was never much of a receiver in fantasy football and where he's been throughout his career. He's more in between the tackles and a goal line type of carry guy. And they got David Johnson over there and Phillip Lindsay in Houston. And now with Tyrod Taylor out multiple weeks with his injury, this offense as a whole is going to take a big hit with Mills at the starting quarterback position. So Ingram, I know he had a good week 1 with 85 yards, but it did take him 26 carries, and he only had 1 target and a touchdown in that game. So right now he got added in 44% of fantasy leagues last week. But this week I'm telling you to drop him because game script is not going to go in Mark Ingram or the Texans' favor, and he's not really going to contribute for fantasy owners. And the third and final running back I will look to drop this week's James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals. So James Conner, he was a late signing in the offseason here from this Cardinal team, and he struggled the first 2 games of the season. Week 1 at Tennessee, 16 carries, 53 yards, and a lot of those carries will close it out the ball game in garbage time for the Cardinal team after they blew them out. And then here in week 2 versus Minnesota, only 8 rushes for 26 yards. So right here, this Arizona Cardinal team, they throw the football a lot, and they just run the ball to keep teams honest. And obviously Chase Edmonds, he's more of a versatile running back than James Conner. And right now, Conner's been dropped in 5% of fantasy leagues over the first few weeks of the season here. But right now, I would drop him in more. He's not doing much of anything, and he's not even getting targets or catches, obviously, for this Arizona team. And he don't really fit the offense, in my opinion. So that's a few running backs I would look to drop here heading into week 3 of the fantasy football season.